when we heard that the Commissioner's office was going to be reopened here, because one of the hallmarks of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce is to bridge the gaps between the business gap between our two countries. And so this bodes well for the start of that partnership, and we certainly appreciate you being here tonight. These are exciting times, I think we'll all agree, with all that's going on around the world. The Bahamas has changed, the world has changed, and the way we do business has changed. And we are excited at the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce to be a part of that change. And so tonight, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you and welcome to the future of business relations between Britain and the Bahamas. Good evening and welcome.
So our next speaker this evening has come in from London. He is the head of the British Diplomatic Service, Sir Simon MacDonald. How many years in the diplomatic service? I think we'll just not mention the amount, but very experienced, having served across the world, and in fact visited almost every single one of our embassies in 120-something countries. So I'm really, really pleased that Sir Simon has come this evening to help us celebrate this new linkage between UK and Bahamian business, and tomorrow to reopen the British High Commission. Sir Simon.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Honourable Minister Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to be here in Nassau. The introduction makes me feel old more than anything else, but I might as well roll with it. I can tell you I have been in the diplomatic service for 37 years, and for the last 4.5 have been head of the diplomatic service permanent under secretary in the Foreign Office, and in that role I am visiting to be present when we reopen our High Commission tomorrow, after too long a gap. But that will be for tomorrow. This evening, we'd like the focus to be on the commercial relationship between the Bahamas and the United Kingdom. This relationship goes back many, many years, centuries, and there is a web of personal and institutional connectivity between Nassau and London, from which we think business can benefit and flourish. One example of this is the common law. Yesterday I met the Chief Justice, and it's clear that this link is still vibrant. And this type of law is a facilitator for business. So the experts reckon that if you're using the common law to do business, you're probably saving about 15% on your costs. So there is an incentive to do more. Second, as you know, 11 days ago the United Kingdom left the European Union. We've taken our time to do this. The referendum was 3.5 years ago. But the advantage of that time is that we were able to prepare. And part of that preparation was to put in place continuity agreements with key partners, including the Bahamas. And so the economic partnership agreement was signed between the Bahamas and the UK in November. This means we have continuity of coverage in our trade and investing relationship. So another help to business. But of course, that was a replication of the status quo. And now that the United Kingdom is in charge of its own trade policy, and we again have a separate presence at the World Trade Organization in Geneva, we're not satisfied with the status quo. We want to build on that. We want to have trade agreements that are more comprehensive, more facilitating of trade than we had with the EU. And so that is the future that we envisage with the Bahamas. As we look at this relationship, we see that it is already a substantial relationship. Bilateral trade in 2018 was over £200 million, which is good, but it could be better. One of the elements of that relationship is tourism. The British tourists like the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Nearly 1 million come to the Caribbean every year, mostly in winter for some reason. And they spend £1 billion. Again, good, but we think that could be even better. And to encourage that improvement, we have a resident High Commissioner. So it is relevant for the subject this evening that Sarah Dixon is one of our diplomats who has real experience in the private sector. Now she will point out that it involves selling whiskey. But I say, what's the harm in that? You get the skills, and they are transferable to other sectors of the economy. And that is what we hope and expect to happen in the years ahead. So thank you very much for coming this evening. Thank you particularly to the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and its chairperson, Crystal, and its CEO, Jeffrey, and to all of you for coming, because this is the beginning of a reborn relationship. Thank you.
And this evening it's also our absolute honour to have the Minister for Trade, Immigration and Financial Services with us. I mean, what an amazing combination for the Minister to have to deal with. Trade, which is about crossing borders, selling services, goods, growing the economy. Immigration, which is about finding the right balance between foreign workers, domestic workers, and bringing that together. Financial services, where the money is, to all work out. So Minister Ellsworth Nathaniel Johnson, we're really pleased to have you with us here tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Let me first say what a delight it is to be here this evening with you. After an excellent experience in cabinet today, brief remarks with Sir Simon, I was able to say to him that in the evenings when I go home, I'm incredibly stressed after a long day. I would watch Yes Minister. So we had a chuckle over that. Good evening. I would like to thank the British High Commission and the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation for inviting me to join you this evening at this prestigious event. Gatherings that bring the Bahamian business community together are essential for building a culture of collaboration and cooperation between members of the community. Also, thank you to Sir Simon MacDonald for your remarks this evening. He spoke to the issues of common law and business. We're very interested in doing business. And like you said, we want it to be better and get better. I would also like, on behalf of the government of the Bahamas, to thank your government for the kind gestures that you showed to us during our experience of the most recent climate crisis. And we had a good chat, but I'm entirely grateful for that.